Hello and welcome to the Album Man, and today I'm going to be doing the final segment in my top 50 bands of all time, and this is going to be from 10 to 1. So let's start and take a look at my 10th favourite band of all time. My 10th favourite band of all time is the legendary Motorhead. And this is the album No Sleep Till Hammersmith, their most famous live album, one of the most famous albums. And yeah, Motorhead, the band formed by Lemmy in 1975, I'm pretty sure, after he was kicked out of Hawkwind, who were a space rock band, who are pretty cool themselves. And he was kicked out of them for taking the wrong drugs, as in he was a speed freak. He enjoyed speed, while the others were more on sort of coke and things like that. And basically, by his account, as I have read his autobiography, he says that he was really kicked out because the other guy who took speed, he left the band. I think it was the drummer of Hawkwind. And yeah, he was the only guy taking speed left, and they didn't like that, so they kicked him out. And he was actually arrested for drug charges or something, going across the border from, this was on a US tour, from America to Canada or something, and they did bail him out for one last show, I think. But yeah, so he left the band, and he'd written a song with Hawkwind called Motorhead, and Motorhead apparently is American slang for speed freak. And he actually sung on this song, and that is the song Motorhead, that's where the song Motorhead comes from. Because he wrote it in Hawkwind. And yes, he decided to name his band after it, and he's probably very happy for it, as he's been very successful and is one of the pioneers of heavy metal and one of the most influential metal artists ever. And I love Motorhead. I love their newest stuff. It was my favourite album of my fifth favourite album of last year was The World Is Yours. Fantastic Motorhead album. And everything, I think. They just have such a solid catalogue. Yeah, love Motorhead. So, at number 9 is one of my sort of dual entries, where I like to combine stuff together. And this is the entry of Alter Bridge / Creed. So, why I'm combining these together is because, really, the only difference between them is one member. And that is, in Creed you had Scott Stapp as the lead singer, and in Alter Bridge you have Miles Kennedy as the lead singer, and he does play rhythm guitar as well. And I love both these bands. I did discover Alter Bridge first, and I discovered them simply because Slash had Miles featuring on Back to Calais, and I think Starlight on his original Slash solo album. And I really liked his voice on those songs. I thought he was a really good vocalist. So, wanted to check out his actual band, because I'd never heard of him before. And I came across Alter Bridge, and this is my favourite of their albums, Blackbird, with the title track Blackbird, phenomenal. And I've seen these guys live, and they were so good live. Mark Tremonti's fantastic guitarist, and Miles, such a good vocalist. And then I went back from Alter Bridge and I discovered Creed, who are meant to be releasing a new album this year, as they now do cycles. It's 1 year Alter Bridge, 1 year Creed, and that seems to be the way it's going to work. As, most of the members, Brian Marshall, Scott Phillips, and Mark Tremonti are in both, so they can't do them at the same time. And that's why Miles even does his stuff with Slash on, that's why he did this year of Apocalyptic Love. But yeah, I discovered Creed and I absolutely love them. They are similar-ish to Alter Bridge, to be honest, but they're just fantastic in their own ways. This is my favourite of their albums, Weather. It's not Human Clay. Human Clay is decent, but this is just such a good album. And yeah, I just love those bands. I think they're so good. Even if Creed may be categorised as Christian rock. Yeah. Okay, at number 8 we have the thrash metal giants, who I don't even know if you can call them thrash metal anymore, but they used to be, and this album isn't really. Good old Metallica, and this is my favourite Metallica album, the Black Album. the album that a lot of Metallica fans would say when they sold out and became commercial. Now, I do love the older stuff. I love Master of Puppets and Justice for All, even if there's no bass in that album. Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em all of that stuff. So good. But I just think this is the epitome, you know, with the songs like Enter Sandman, Sad But Truly Unforgiven, The God That Failed, Nothing Else Matters. And yeah, this is the album I discovered Metallica on. It was, I picked up this album because I'd heard of Metallica, and anything I'd heard of them I actually didn't like. I just didn't like that too heavier metal. So I picked this up, you know, famous album, and the first time I listened to it I thought, it's okay. I can see why people like it, but it's not that great. And then a few days later I decided I'm going to give this a second chance. When I listened to it that second time, it absolutely blew my mind. And I was introduced to the world of Metallica. And I now own all their albums except for Reload, which I'm so gonna get soon. And even though those albums are not the best. But yeah, I've been listening to all their stuff, through Saint Anger, to Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning. I've been enjoying it, and it really did open up thrash metal to me, and I've discovered Megadeth as a consequence, and other bands in that genre. And yeah, you know, fantastic band in general. And then at number 7, the greatest guitarist of all time in my opinion, and been lucky enough to see him live. And so it is Joe Bonamassa, the blues legend, and this is my favourite, or maybe not my favourite, this is one of my favourite of his albums, A New Yesterday Live. And this is the album I really discovered him on. Literally, my dad told me to listen to this album, and I just fell in love with it, and fell in love with Bonamassa. His guitar skill was just fantastic. And I did discover him before he's now become more mainstream. Well, he's not mainstream, but he did get to number 2 in the UK album charts. But I knew him when he was still playing really tiny venues. And I've just, yeah, I absolutely loved him through Slow Gin and Dust Bowl. Whatever he's released, he doesn't have a bad album, but I think this is definitely one of his peaks. He's definitely best live, and I saw him live, and he was absolutely fantastic. At number 6, we have probably the least known of the bands in my top 10, but one of the best. And that is the fantastic Magnum. And Magnum fans might be wondering, why am I showing this album as a demonstration of Magnum? Surely I should be showing On a Storyteller's Night. Well, the thing is, this is the album I discovered Magnum on. I discovered them through Into the Valley of the Moon King. And this is my favourite Magnum album, in fact, not this one. I just think, I don't know, this album, in my opinion, it's perfect. Everything about it is perfect. It's phenomenal. I've listened to this so many times, and it just so got me into Magnum. And so I've listened to subsequent albums, like On Storyteller's Night, which is absolutely phenomenal as well. My second favourite Magnum album, and a phenomenal album. Magnum, they just have a catalogue of fantastic stuff. Yes, they do have some dodgier stuff just before Hard Rain was formed, when the tensions between the band. I can't remember what the album's called, but the album before Bob Catley and Tony Clark formed Hard Rain. Yeah, that wasn't so good. But in general, Magnum have released a lot of strong stuff, and yeah, I'm so looking forward to the new album on the 13th day, coming out on the 24th of September. And at number 5, we have the classic progressive band Pink Floyd, and my 2 favourite Floyd albums of Dark Side of the Moon, and my favourite Floyd album, joint favourite album of all time, The Wall, Roger Waters' Baby and Masterpiece. But I love Dark Side as well, it's like my 5th favourite album of all time. And then I love Wish You Were Here as well. And this is the Experience Editions, the 2011 Experience Editions. Yeah, I mean, what to say about Pink Floyd that hasn't already been said? They're a classic band for a reason. And yeah, I love them dearly. And then at number 4, we have Dream Theater. This is my favourite of their albums, Scenes from Memory, Metropolis Part 2, the concept album. Fantastic concept. Absolutely fantastic, lyrically and musically. And Dream Theater, I discovered them quite strangely, in fact. What happened was I was listening to the Marillion song Sugar Mice, because I love Marillion, and Sugar Mice, fantastic song, Fish Era. I was listening to it on YouTube, and one of these suggested videos on the side was a Dream Theater cover with Sugar Mice. And I was thinking, what, somebody's done a cover with Sugar Mice? I have to see this. So I watched the video, then I thought, yeah, no, that's pretty decent. And then a few months later, again the same thing happened. I decided to watch it again, give it another go, and thought, yeah, this is good. I'll explore some of their stuff. So I went on their channel and just found the first song I found, Forsaken. Listened to it and thought, yeah, it's alright. Just didn't think much of it. Then a few weeks later, I sort of, pondered on Dream Theater a bit and decided to go back. I listened to it again, thought it was phenomenal. Listened to Dance of Eternity, phenomenal. I started listening to a lot of their stuff, loving them. And then the first album I really listened to of theirs was Change of Seasons, the EP, and that song, Change of Seasons, is mind-blowing. 22 minutes, I think, or something like that, of absolute phenomenalness. I mean, so good. And then I've been listening to their subsequent albums and things, this, and of course the album last year, On a Dramatic Turn of Events, the first to not feature Portnoy, which was sad, of course, because Portnoy is my favourite drummer of all time. And yeah, Dream Theater, they just clicked with me. I just love everything about them. The metal, they just combine everything I love. They combine metal with prog and catchy as hell choruses, and there's just nothing I could want more. Well, except, I suppose there are 3 bands I could want more. And one of those is the classic, how could these not be on my list, Iron Maiden. And this is their most famous album, Number of the Beast. But yet, it is not my favourite. Just like Magnum, many Iron Maiden fans will disagree with me immensely, because in fact my favourite Iron Maiden album is this. Now, I adore this album to death. I mean, name a bad song on this album. But this is just something special. I love the more progressive nature to it. I don't know, this album, it's been growing on me a lot recently, but I suppose at the moment this is my favourite Iron Maiden album still. I just think it's phenomenal. It's got longer tracks. I mean, my favourite track on it, For the Greater Good of God, is 9 minutes 24 seconds, which I love. But I just think Iron Maiden, they don't really have a bad album. I can't say I'm a big fan of Fear of the Dark. I love the song, but the album, not that good. But, yeah, from this, or even from the original Iron Maiden with Paul Di'Anno, I love that as well, all the way to The Final Frontier, which is such a good album. I don't know why I've had some flack from you, but I adore that album, such a passion. But yeah, they're just one of the classic great bands in metal, and yeah, they're just, what to say. Then at number 2, this is a bit of a combination one. Now, if you noticed earlier on my list, if you've been watching the series, I had an Aussie Black Sabbath section of just Aussie Sabbath. Well, obviously people who watch my channel will know I adore Dio. So in fact, I have a category that is just called Dio, which is my second favourite band ever. And this Dio category just includes everything Dio's ever done, from his solo stuff like Holy Diver, to his stuff in Black Sabbath like Heaven and Hell, and of course his classic Richie Blackmore's Rainbow stuff. And I mean, Dio, the greatest vocalist of all time, one of the greatest lyricists of all time, one of the greatest frontmen of all time. Just, for me, is just the quintessential metal singer. And he just sums up everything you want from metal. Great lyrics about dragons and kings, and with fantastically, a soaring voice, and yeah, there's just, what more could you want for a metal vocalist and Dio? And I just love everything he does, you know, with Richie Blackmore, Blackmore, phenomenal guitarist, oopsie daisies, phenomenal guitarist combined to make classic music, and then of course with Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler and Bill Ward created this masterpiece. And then even when he was going it alone on his solo stuff, still phenomenal. Yes, not everything he's done is perfect, but the vast majority of it is. And that's why he's my second favourite artist, I suppose, of all time. And then number one, I wonder what could be at number one. This is not going to be a shock to anyone. My favourite band ever, oh yes, Guns N' Roses. This album, when I heard it for the first time, it just blew me away. It's just everything I could want from a band. A rock band, certainly. It's just perfect. There's not a bad track on it. It just has a raw energy to it, but yet it also has more, you know, ballady, delicate songs like Sweet Child of Mine and certainly the intro to Paradise City. But, you know, it's just got the more fast-paced songs, Night Train and, you know, Anything Goes, and, you know, just such a good album. Best debut album ever, certainly. It is my joint favourite album of all time. And yeah, I just love everything to do with Guns N' Roses. I really am pretty obsessed with them, possibly. I wouldn't quite call myself a fanboy, but everything of Guns N' Roses before, I suppose Guns N' Roses really died in '96, which was when Duff McKagan and Slash left the band. And after that, well, I'm doing a review of Chinese Democracy very soon, so you'll find out soon my opinions on modern Guns N' Roses. But, let's just say I certainly do prefer the older stuff. And, yeah, they are my favourite band for a reason. I've read McKagan's autobiography, I have Slash's and Adler's, and I am pretty obsessed with them. So, yeah. This is the conclusion of my top 50 bands of all time. I really hope you've enjoyed this series. And yeah, this has been the Album Man. Thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. And as usual, long live rock and roll.